Welcome back. We're going to have a go at making ourselves a 1x2 Lego brick. We're going to use lots of the same features that we've used already up to this point. So let's get started. When we're using Onshape and you're building more complicated designs and models, I want you to start to get into the habit of building up parts. So at the end, we can assemble it together. It's like anything you make. Often it's made up of lots of different parts, lots of different components, and you assemble it, you put it together at the end. Onshape is very similar. So to create, this is our part studio, and if I hover over with my mouse, I can see an image of what part I have produced in that tab. That's my 1x1 Lego brick. So I'm going to click on the plus sign and it says insert new tab if I'm hovering over with my mouse. So left click, and I want to create a part studio. Here is my new part studio. Now as we start to build up our part studios, it can become confusing knowing which is which part. So it's always good practice. By right clicking my mouse on that tab, I want you to rename it, and we're going to call it 2x2 Lego brick. While we're at it, let's rename this one. So this part studio, right click on the mouse to bring up these options, rename, and I'll call that a 1x1 Lego brick. Back into my new part studio. So I'm hoping when we get to the page, it looks familiar to what we've seen so far. I'm just waiting for my screen to load up. Hopefully yours has got there a bit quicker than mine. So this should start to become familiar to us. We've got our planes. So if I'm looking down on my design from the top, if I'm looking from the front or the back of my design, I use the front plane. If I'm looking from the right or the left, I use my right plane. And over here, remember, we've got our orientation, so we can move around our design and we can see different angles. So, like we did before, I'm going to hide the front plane by clicking on the little eye next to it, and I'm going to hide the right plane. And I'm going to click on the top here just to orchestrate my view to make sure it's where I want it. So I'm looking straight down. So I'm going to go up to my toolbar. I'm going to click sketch. So I want to draw a shape. It's telling me what shape do I want to, what plane do I want to draw on. I'm going to choose top plane. I'm going to go to my rectangle or square shapes, drop down arrow, center point rectangle. I'm going to highlight over or hover over the origin, left click, so I snap it to the origin, and I'm going to go up and out, left click. So I've got a rectangle shape. I'm going to go up to my dimensions, got my dimensions tool, and I'm going to dimension my first line. And I'm going to set that to 13.6. I'm going to scroll in using the wheel on my mouse to zoom in a bit closer. It's easier for me to see. And I'm going to choose the line on the right side. It's gone orange, so left click, drag my mouse off, and that is going to be 6.8. I'm not making these measurements up. I've actually got these off the internet, so that's something that you can always do if you're struggling for the dimensions for the Lego bricks. Right, I'm happy with that, so I'm going to green tick it. So I've got a 2D sketch on the top plane. I'm going to zoom out a little bit just so everyone can see that. Uh, Next, I need to create a 3D object from it. So we're going to use our extrude tool. So I'm going to click on that tool. Here come my extrude instructions. I want to keep it solid new. It's telling me, so what face or what sketch, I've just done a sketch, do you want to extrude? Well, I want to extrude that one there. Again, I can click there, or I could click on there. It's entirely up to you. So I'm going to click here. Now, if I move the angle, you'll see that it's extruded up. Now we need to tell it how high the depth of the extrusion. And if you remember from the Lego brick 1x1, it was 9.6 millimeters. I've got these written down, that's why I can remember them. I can't remember off the top of my head. And I'm going to green tick that. I'm quite happy with that. And I'm going to green tick that. Okay, next then, we need to sketch um, two small circles on the top surface. So in the last video we did one circle because it was 1x1. We're now doing a 1x2, so we need to have two circles on the top. Click on the top here, my top orientation bar, so I can reorientate myself. Now I'm going to scroll in a little bit, zoom in a little bit. So I look at my toolbar, and again, I don't have any sketching tools. So I need to click sketch because I want to make a sketch. I want to create some shapes. It's grayed out at the moment, and that's because Onshape is asking me, where do I want to sketch? I don't want to sketch on the top plane, the front, or the right plane. I actually want to sketch on the surface on the top of that extrusion I've just done. So I'm going to click there. Now you notice my toolbar comes alive, and I want to go to the circle option, the drop down, and I want to choose center point circle. There are little shortcut keys that you can see here that as you become more confident and comfortable using Onshape, you'll start to get to know a few of the shortcut keys for things like center point circle or extrusion. I'm going to use the mouse for the time being. So there's my origin. I'm going to help that. I'm going to help. I'm going to let it help me find the center line of this face, this sketch, this object that I've done. So it's gone dotted yellow. Left click, put out. Left click, and I'm going to do the same with this one here. Dotted line, up and out. Then they're not in the right place at the moment, so I need to do something about that. So I'm going to go up to my dimensions tool here, the two arrows between the two lines, and I'm going to click. I'm going to choose this circle here, and I'm going to make that 4.8 millimeters. Press tab. Get into the habit of pressing tab on your keyboard because it gives you a preview of what it's going to look like rather than having to green tick and edit, go back in every time. If you just tab each time, it'll give you a little preview. So happy with that. I'm going to choose this one here. Dimension. There we go. And that's going to be 4.8. Tab off. Right, I'm happy with that. I've now got the circles the right sizes, but I haven't got them the right size in the right place. So I need to use my dimensions tool to put them in the right area, basically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to green tick that for time being. So you can see my little sketches there. I'm going to double click on them and go back into them. I'm actually going to move the sketch. Because it's a blue line, it means I can actually move them. So I'm just going to move them in a little bit. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my dimensions tool, and I'm going to say the left hand side of my circle here. So I've clicked on there, take my mouse over, and I want to go to this line here, and I'm going to click there, and I'm going to say that that needs to be one millimeter. What you'll now notice is that's now gone black, because I'm telling it that it must be 1 millimeter away from the edge. So I can't move it anymore because it's almost locked into position now. So now I'm going to do the same over here. I've got my dimensions tool highlighted. So I want the edge of this circle here to, to constrain it with the right hand side of my object. So the line goes orange. I'll take that off the design so it doesn't get confusing. Make that 1 millimeter. Right, I'm happy with that. I've got those circles in the right place. So I'm going to green tick.